Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Fumblerooski, a football podcast, right here on the You Read Me Network. Big Facts Entertainment in the building, the OG Big Facts over there. I'm K.P. right here. Man, it has been an eventful week in the world of football, has it not, my guy?
And that's probably the best weekend of playoff football I've ever witnessed personally in my life. I mean, maybe there was better.
Big Facts.
It might be all time, but definitely the best weekend I've ever watched.
In my whole 36, almost 37 years of existence, that Chiefs-Bills game was the best football game I've ever seen in my life. But, and I'd hate to be that guy, the NFL has to do something about these overtime rules. Why not just copy what they do in college? I really don't see why that isn't the universal code of overtime rules.
The new one or the old one?
Like the one they do now.
The new rule trash. I hate that.
Or the old one where each team got a chance.
Yeah, because I don't like that 2-point conversion shit. That's just trash.
You know, I don't mind 2-point conversion. That does not bother me at all.
No, you know, after like the third overtime, it's all 2-play conversions.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Because you have to speed it up at that point. But I say just adopt that as the universal standards for overtimes. But nevertheless, man, great game. I felt real bad for Josh Allen, man, because he balled out. But you can't. 13 seconds was the difference, man. You really can't give guys like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady that kind of time. You really can't.
13 seconds. That's not a lot of time. They shouldn't have. Didn't they?
Depends on what you're doing. It's not a lot of time.
That should have been cover for everything underneath.
Yep, quarters.
Like everybody should have dropped back as far as you can. Give him any 10 yards and come up and tackle. I don't understand how you let him get that loose.
Yep, that should have been a straight quarters defense.
Let's go back and start game by game. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but
yes, we are. But before we get into the games, man, let's talk about the news. Big Ben calling it a day. Tom Brady, man, Tom the coldest one to ever do it, Brady. Might be calling it quits. Looks like Giselle and the kids might win out.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, he should have retired last year. I think he spent this whole season thinking, damn, I regret I just didn't go out last year, because they had a good season last year. Not saying that they didn't salvage this season, but they had a great season last year and they came up short, right? They were almost undefeated. It kind of broke down. So I understand why it would come back. But I mean, he was just awful this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I do like the fact that they said it's going to be a quarterback competition with Haskins and Mason. Mason has proven that he cannot handle that job. I really want Haskins to get himself together, mature, and take that job. It's not the on the field shit with Haskins, it's the off the field shit. It's his dedication to training and things like that. Because we saw in the preseason and all during training camp that he still has the tools. He just has to grow up.
Yeah, most definitely. I think he does, you know, and I think probably sitting behind Ben Roethlisberger may have helped him. But, you know, Ben Roethlisberger's from that same cloth as Brett Favre, where he ain't really, you know, helping the backups. At least that's what he tells the media, but I think it might be a different thing behind closed doors. Or, you know, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, I just go after it in free agency. You know, one quarterback is definitely has made it known that he'll be on the market is Aaron Rodgers. Now, Nathaniel Hackett just got the head coaching job in Denver. Aaron Rodgers told Devontae Adams and Valdez Scantling, wherever he goes, he wants them to go. So they could be a package deal to Denver. I mean, you may have them as a package deal to Pittsburgh. It just really, really depends. But if I was Green Bay, I'd just trade them so I could at least get something. But who knows, man?
Yeah, I mean, either one of those situations is a Super Bowl contending situation, in my opinion, because they both have defenses, right? They just need someone to come and control the offense. If you put Aaron Rodgers in either one of those situations, even though I'm a bit down on Aaron Rodgers because of the bullshit he pulled this year, he's still a championship caliber quarterback. And you put him in the situation in Denver with that running game with Cortland Sutton, you know what I mean? Jerry Jeudy, you bring in Devontae Adams, Scanlon Vantley or whatever. You bring in those guys, and that team's legit out there. But you do have to go against Patrick Mahomes and those Chiefs. Now you got to go against an up-and-coming Chargers team. We don't know what we're going to get from the Raiders. I mean, they made the playoffs this year. It's a tougher division. You go to Pittsburgh, you got Najee down there. You got Deontay Johnson. You got Claypool. I mean, you're stacked with talent on that offense and on that offense, and that defense is good also. So, I mean, either one of those situations, but I think that division is a little softer for them, even though they have the up-and-coming Bengals. You have a Browns team that's in flux. You have a Ravens team that wasn't as consistent this year. I think I choose the Steelers, but I think the Steelers should just stick with what they got. I think they need to give Haskins a chance, rebuild that offensive line, because that's one of their biggest problems, that offensive line. You invested in Najee. I think you need to get that offensive line together.
Yeah, I agree. While we're on the subject of retirement, Sean Payton calling it a career. Seems out of nowhere. Yeah, so Sean Payton, he is done.
I thought that he just quit and said he's open to media or coaching jobs.
So they're saying retirement. So they said he retired. I think that's what will happen. I think I could see him definitely going into television. But Sean Payton hanging it up. So you have a head coaching vacancy there. Brian Dabel was recently hired as the coach of the New York Giants. What do you think about that?
Man, it's better than, it seems like everyone is targeting those Bills because of the good season they had. And one thing I will say about that Bills team is, I don't know, about 6 of those games, that offense looked terrible. And it does look like Josh Allen is carrying a lot of that load on offense. So I think Leslie Frazier will be the better get than Dabel. But, I understand Daniel Jones isn't Josh Allen. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. But the defense is what carried that Bills team. It wasn't really the offense. It was the legs and arm of Josh Allen, but it wasn't really scheme. So I don't love it.
Yep. Also, the Bears hired Matt Eberflus, the Colts defensive coordinator, as head coach, which I really thought Brian Flores would have been a home run there. Maybe Louis Riddick for the GM, but they hired a former undrafted free agent as their GM, and Matt Eberflus is the head coach out there.
I'm mad at it. Indiana's defense.
I think it works, but I think Flores will end up somewhere.
Yeah, Colts defense has been solid, so I'm not mad at that at all. I like the fact that you're not seeing a ton of retreads. At least you're seeing some young, up and coming talent and coordinators. Even with the fact that the Eagles started off bad, they were able to make the playoffs with a relative unknown OC. So I think teams are getting more into these young coordinators instead of these retread coaches that have proven that they have not been that successful on their own. I like this trend that we're seeing.
And so we still got a few vacancies still open. Vikings, Raiders, Texans, Dolphins, just to name a few. So the Jaguars, which I hear they are super close to hiring Byron Leftwich, which I think that's a good look. Former quarterback of the team, very well known in the community, very respected. I think that will be a good look for them. Still, a lot of the rumors out there is that Jim Harbaugh or Josh McDaniels may be a slam dunk for the Raider job. A lot of people are leaning on Josh McDaniels. The Houston Texans interviewing Luke McCown for his second interview. No prior head coaching experience out of a high school team. That'll be interesting, to say the least. It's still trash, though. Yeah.
Didn't they interview the Eagles, Gannon, for a second interview also?
Yeah, I think so.
Eagles, DC.
Yeah, and I think.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say possibly Kellen Moore. It doesn't look like Kellen Moore. Either he'll get the Miami job or he won't get one at all. I think he needs to stay anyway. But Dan Quinn announcing that he will stay with the Cowboys in their attempt to win 6 Super Bowls. So pretty interesting. I think we'll see more of it pick up at least after the championship games this weekend. We'll see some new coaching hires.
Yeah, I think some of these teams are waiting for the championship game because they want to interview some of these assistants in the championship team, which seems smart. But I think like you said, Harbaugh or McDaniels will be the coach of the Raiders. I'm hearing McDaniels more than Harbaugh now, which is kind of interesting. I do think McDaniels deserves a shot, even though he's been kind of an asshole and he went to Indy and kind of, did what he did there. But I think he deserves a shot. It seems I like the Brian Leftwich hire. Well, what they're talking about sounds like that the holdup is that he doesn't want the GM Trent Bulk there. He wants him Trent Bulky. Yeah, he wants him fired and he wants to bring in a guy from Arizona. I've heard some talk that maybe he can convince Tom Brady to come there, but that seems ridiculous to me since they have
Jacksonville.
Yeah, since they have Trevor Lawrence, why would you bring that in?
I don't see that happening.
you would hurt the development. So that seems ridiculous. But I heard some of those rumors. I like what Houston is doing. It's still interesting that what's his name? Bieniemy isn't getting many interviews again. You know, there's something that we don't know in circles that's not being talked about, but he is not getting traction at all. I like the fact that they're going young. I don't like the McCown thing. I didn't love the Eagles defensive coordinator Gannon, but you know, whatever. At least they're trying to go with some young, new talent, young, new guys that they can build around. You can't fire them after a year, though. You got to know you're going to be trash, probably. You know what I'm saying? But it's very interesting to me that we still have so many openings, and we do still have Flores out there lingering. He may be, I think the holdup may be Flores. I think he's trying to pick the best situation for himself. And out of all the jobs, I don't know. I think I would have took the Bears. Maybe he's leaning Vikings, but
maybe New Orleans, possibly New Orleans. I mean, that would be a nice look for him.
Not really. I mean, New Orleans is $74 million over the cap. They don't have a quarterback. They paying Taysom Hill like $20 million to be either a tight end or a quarterback. You have Marcus Colston making $40 million a year and don't even know if he wants to play. You know what I'm saying? That does not sound like an intriguing situation for anybody but a young coordinator that just needs a job. I would not go there if I was Flores.
Yeah, Kellen Moore to New Orleans. You heard it here first.
I think Kellen Moore is getting knocked for the fact that they have that offense and they didn't look like a powerful offense. How do you have Dak, CD, Amari Cooper, Gallup, Zeke, and all these people, and you don't look like a dynamic offense? I think that he is spilling that a little bit from the fact that they look mediocre down the stretch and in the playoffs. So I think Kellen will end up back in Dallas, but I think Sean Payton is on the radar at Dallas. The fact that Quinn is staying gives me reservations, but the fact that Payton left like he did and left it open, it makes me kind of think Jerry might be thinking about bringing Payton back in, and that would be lovely for that offense.
Yeah, it really would be. It really would be. I would keep Quinn. And then if you bring in Peyton as the head coach, definitely I would keep just Garrett, or I said James. Well, hell, pretty much Kellen Moore and Jason Garrett are the same person. I mean, there's really not a ton of difference there. But, you know, it's just, I don't think it happens this year, maybe next year. I just can't really see that going down or see that happening. Now, have you heard some of the rumblings in Dallas that Jerry Jones is actually a little frustrated with Amari Cooper? He feels that he hasn't really lived up to the value of his contract, which I totally disagree with. I think it's more of Kellen Moore's offense than anything. But with the Cowboys, that's really 95% of the problem, I think. Jerry Jones, you know, he can't be what we're used to as a traditional owner, like what you would see with Mr. Kraft or some of the other folks around the league. Just, you know, he just talks too much. He goes on these radio shows and I think at the end of the day, you have to be willing to relent some type of control. You can't do everything. He wears too many hats, you know, just focus on being the owner. He
has, though. I think that's why he talks so much, because Steven is the one that's really running the team. I think he does all that talking, but none of it really comes to fruition. He just talks and vents his frustration, because I think Steven is the one that has control now. And that's just his way of poking at him when he doesn't like what's going on.
Yeah, just like Will Clay's really the GM. He just doesn't have the title, but he's the general manager of the Cowboys. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Moving on.
Well, I don't want to move on because I do want to say that Amari comment. I agree with you. I think it's Kellen Moore because I don't understand any of it, because I think CD Lamb hasn't lived up to his potential, and I don't think it has anything to do with CD Lamb. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Moore. Amari, when you start feeding him and targeting him, he's productive every time. Like, he's had several 200-yard games, multiple touchdown games, even Gallup. There's so many options on that field for them to target the tight end so much. I mean, I'm not saying that Dalton isn't, you know, a good player, but he's not the player that you should be getting.
Witten was, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that Dak sometimes is too conservative and won't give the receivers a chance to make plays. I think he waits too long in the game. And I think what you see is when the Dallas Cowboys get down, they're better, because then you have to take chances. You have to take shots. Then you start seeing those receivers make plays, but they only do that when they get down. then you see them make comebacks because the offense becomes more dynamic. I just think Dak and the offensive coordinator need to take more shots and have more trust in those receivers. There's a reason Cedric Wilson is open. There's a reason Dalton Schultz is open. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, it's just, I think Kellen Moore would be better off in college if you got a head coaching job anywhere.
I agree.
Yep. I think college would be the perfect place for him.
That's more spread the ball around. You know, whoever's open is going to be wide open. Keep getting the ball to the open player. In the NFL, it's more about feeding your best players. And that's one thing that Dez was good at. And then you saw a drop off when Dak came is because Dak is reluctant to throw it into anybody that's running one-on-one. One-on-one is open in NFL, right? When you got a Dez Bryant and he's running one-on-one, that's open. Throw it to him. I think it's the same way with Amari. It's the same way with CeeDee Lamb. If they're running one-on-one, throw it to him. Now, CeeDee Lamb did have some hands issues this year, which was uncharacteristic. I think his focus was off because he wasn't getting fed like he wanted to, but that's uncharacteristic of CeeDee Lamb to have as many drops as he did this season. But I think that's the big problem is Dak won't feed someone when they're there. He has that college mindset where he wants them to be open until it becomes Dallas gets down. Then he starts giving them more chances. But that might be Kellen. That might be Kellen telling him the reads of somebody's going to be open, which is fine. But you have to feed players in the NFL. It's different than college. Like you have to feed your stars. You're paying them $20 million. You got to give them the ball.
Yeah, you got to. And so that's just, I don't know. You know me. I'm a Cowboys fan through and through, but I try to be a little bit realistic. And so that's just something they got to address. They really have to address their cadences. They have to address the offensive play calling because we know McCarthy does not call the offensive plays in Dallas. It's all Kellen Moore because Jerry Jones wanted it to be Kellen Moore. I think the best thing that can happen to them is Kellen Moore becoming the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. That's probably the best thing that could happen to the Dallas Cowboys at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be good. I think that's the best spot for him. And the reason why is because if he can come in, and I think Tua is a college quarterback in the sense that he doesn't really want to force the ball. He wants to spread the ball around, right? He wants to get the ball to whoever's open. And that's why Waddle was so successful because Waddle's always going to get open in the slot. I mean, he's a slot monster. So he's going to get as many targets as he can, you know what I mean? But if you can get someone like Kellen Moore in there and with that spread the ball offense with Tua, I think it'll be best for Tua. I think it'll be best for Kellen Moore. I think they could grow together as an offensive coordinator because he probably will be calling the plays even though he won't have the title coordinator. He's too young to get that play calling up. He's still trying to make a name for himself. Only veteran coaches really do that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason. Even, man, one thing I heard, even with the network broadcasting teams, I heard we're going to see a lot of change with that. A lot of people saying this might be Troy Aikman's last game on Fox tomorrow. What do you think about that? A lot of people bash Troy Aikman and Joe Burrow.
And Troy becoming a bit of a hater, man. I get tired of hearing Troy.
All right.
Troy, bitch. Hey, I don't like Troy because Troy be hating hard on my boy Hurts, man. This is only basically his rookie year. Oh, he's got to make that throw. And then he be on Brady's dick. He's just becoming that old man. He's becoming that old man.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think he's as a hater, but he's just a crotchety old man, like, hey, stay off my lawn type of old man. Yeah. That's what I think when I see Troy hating.
Shit on the young guys, all the veteran that plays the game like him, like you just see it, man. I think you got to move Troy to Monday Night Football. That's more acceptable on Monday night. You get more of the veteran game.
Or he needs to be with like Al Michaels, like Chris. Yeah. I think Al might be retiring, but it's just like Tony Romo and Troy Aikman are a tale of two different people. Like Tony Romo, that cool old neighbor, it's like, hey, he out there smoking a joint, and then you go by there and he'll tell you how stories about the good old days for Troy Aikman's like, hey, get off my lawn. You like the Clint Eastwood type of Gran Torino.
Stay in the pocket. Can't sustain throwing 50 times a game. Like shut up, Troy. It's a new game. I know.
Oh my God. When he do them Cowboys games, you can tell like he just get upset. It is insane how mad he gets. But
yeah, you can tell the NFC East games, he's annoyed by everything that's going on. A little bit harder. It's like, oh, it's not like the old days when I was there, the competition, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yo, so what do you think? So I guess since we got most of the major news out the way, let's talk about these games as we alluded to earlier in the show. I mean, Chiefs and Bills, amazing. Even though I don't want the Chiefs to win anything, because myself and Jackson Mahomes are involved in a blood feud. No need to talk about that on the show. But yo,
you see his wife's shirt, the Brittany ones.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you laying off of her, you just all on Jackson up.
Yeah, man, I gotta fire Jackson up, man. Brittany, she overly emotional. Jackson should know better.
All right.
You should know better, man. That sounded hella chauvinist, man. I don't know how many women.
It did. You gotta give her the same venom. I mean, equal. You know what I'm saying? You gotta give her the same victim.
You know what? She ain't shit either. Fuck both of them. Patrick Mahomes cool, but his hangers on not so much. But
you mean like his family? You can't call his family his hangers. That's his
they
family.
Are hangers on.
They're his family. That's his brother and his wife.
His mama don't be wilding out like that. Pops don't be wilding out like that. They hangers on.
No, they just might not know how to use the Instagrams.
They know how to use the Instagrams. His mama be sending thirst traps like who was the old boy? That was the backup, AJ McCarron. His mama be sending thirst traps too.
Hey man,
I see you out there, Randy Mahomes.
She out here, man.
Yeah, she like the brothers too, man. But anywho, so I mean, we had a lot of great games on. How about the Cincinnati Bengals, man? They are putting up the statue of Joe Burrow as we speak in Cincinnati.
And I mean, not for nothing, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I'm pretty sure I went 4-0 this weekend. Pretty sure I've been calling the Bengals.
I think I called that one too. I think the only one I got wrong was the Packers and 49ers.
But I think the important part is that you got one wrong, and I went 4-0.
Sure, we got to go back and listen to that, man.
Hey, go back and listen.
To do that as part of my homework, but
but I'm pretty sure I know I took the Bengals.
Maybe. I know I took the Bengals too.
I know I took the Bengals.
I think I took the Bills too. I think I took the Bills and I took the Packers, and that's what messed me up.
Yep, I took the 49ers. Because
I know I took the Rams. I know I took the Rams because I said, hey, they beat them earlier in the season. But let's talk about that, man. Like,
which one you want to start with?
Let's talk about the Rams and the Bucs for a second, because we saw the Rams just pummeling them at first, and then they gave Tom Brady time to come back. But at the end of the day, it just really looked like they were getting a lot of pressure on Tom Brady. I know that Tom Brady was taking a lot of shots, which surprised me, because usually when he gets hit like that in the pocket, there's usually roughing the passer calls and all that, but he didn't get any calls at home. I think we may have seen the last of Tom Brady, especially, at least in Tampa Bay. He only had, a 2-year contract? I think
he has another year. He signed that extension, but I don't know if they're willing to let him out of that. He got that 2-year extension, and I know after 2023, all those other years come off. But I think he has one more year.
And I think the AB thing might have took it out of him. And I called me a conspiracy theorist, but I think him and Bruce Arians really don't see eye to eye at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they just cooperate for the sake of winning, but I think he's more on the same page with Byron Leftwich. And if it looks like Byron Leftwich is going to leave, I think he's definitely out of there. There's no way that he stays there with a new coordinator and Brian Arians. But I will say this, that's one of the things that we talked about on the last podcast. We're talking about Tom Brady's weakness was pressure up the middle. Mm-hmm. And that's what you get with the Rams. You got Aaron Donald pushing up the middle. And the reason why he's not getting those calls is because the Rams defensive line gets as much respect as Tom Brady. That's what you used to get with the Ravens. That's why the Ravens used to be one of the toughest matchups for Tom Brady in the playoffs, because their defensive line gets as much respect as Tom Brady does. So you don't get those frivolous calls that you would get from other teams. Tom Brady, I mean, he's still Tom Brady, right? He's still going to do what he does. You can't give him that out. And we need to give Cooper Kupp more respect. He is the MVP this year. If he doesn't get the MVP, it's going to be the craziest shit ever. He's the MVP this year, period.
He's got to have it. He got to. And one thing that really pissed me off, a lot of people still to this day give Julian Edelman so much shine for having one good game in the Super Bowl. And granted, he had that one good game when it counted, but Cooper Kupp has been solid top to bottom all year. And I definitely think this is not a one-time thing. Cooper Kupp is a top 10 receiver in the league. I might even put him at top 5 in the league.
And you know the difference maker is one thing about Matt Stafford is he's going to feed his best player.
Oh, he's going to throw it.
Yeah, that's the difference between him and Jared Goff. Like Jared Goff is more conservative. He's going to try to hit who's open. So now we're seeing what Kupp was doing with Goff is just like the tip of his potential. Now we're seeing what he really is. Like those crisp routes he's running and Stafford's looking for him all the time. He's pretty much unstoppable. He's been the best wide receiver in the league, and it hadn't been close.
And I know this is a little bit premature, but that's why the Rams are my pick to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I really think they are, just because not only do you have Cooper Kupp, but now you have a healthy, happy
hold on.
On the other side. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it.
Hold on. You moved a little too fast.
I know. I got a little too much dip in my chip, but man, it's just championship football. Even though it's not my team, you always love this time of the year, man. You always do. Yeah. So, do you want to move on? Titans and Bengals.
Well, that was a good game, but let's go since we're in the NFC. Let's go to the 49ers and the Aaron Rodgers exit. You know what I mean? That was a pretty bad way to go out after all the shit he's pulled this year.
But you know what, man? It was, but dude, the Green Bay Packers always do this. It's just that they did it a week early than when they usually do it, because if they didn't do it in the division, the NFC Championship. Aaron Rodgers, if I were him, I'd just hang it up, because honestly, his best bet would be to stay in the NFC. If he goes to the AFC, it's not happening for him. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that.
I don't know if you can say that, because if we like we talked about, if he goes to Denver, that core of weapons, we got to remember that he's out there fighting with only Davante Adams, pretty much. Aaron Jones, hit or miss, but he's out there fighting with only Davante Adams. If you go to Denver, you're fighting with, because they already signed Courtland Sutton. They signed Courtland Sutton. They signed Tim Patrick. I don't even know if the roster would allow them to get Adams. But if you add Adams,
you got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, you add Adams with Jerry Jeudy, and I would like to keep both Melvin Gordon and the young Javonte Williams. If you keep that together, that's crazy. Like, Rodgers doesn't have to do anything. That running game was almost dominant by itself with a BS quarterback. Even if you only bring in Adams to go with Sutton, that offense is probably going to be one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL, like, period.
But check this out.
Noah Fant, too. Don't forget Fant over the middle.
I got you. But here's the difference. The AFC West is not the NFC North. You have competent teams in the AFC West. You're not going to be playing the Vikings, Bears, and Lions all year. You're going to be playing a much improved Chargers team. You're going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs twice a year, and then you're going to play a better Raider team too.
But they have to play him too. So the one thing that I will say is, look at you're right, better competition, but better weapons too. Because what Aaron Jones does is great, but Melvin Gordon can do just as much as Aaron Jones passing out the backfield. Javonte Williams is better than any backup on that Green Bay team. Courtland Sutton is better than any receiver outside of Davante Adams. You put Davante Adams and Courtland Sutton together, and with Jerry Jeudy, he's there because he's a rookie. Tim Patrick is already there. You don't even need MVS. If you can get Davante Adams, you got 4 receivers and a tight end, unstoppable. You have 2 running backs. Even if they have to get rid of Gordon, you can bring in another running back. Hell, Mike Boone can do that passing stuff too. But that offense is dynamic. That defense is already good. You know what I mean? That defense is already legit. I think that team, what they did this year without a competent quarterback, I like Teddy, but Teddy isn't dynamic.
You put he's not what he used to be. The injuries have caught up to him too.
Yeah, you put Aaron Rodgers in that offense with the defense that they have already. That team is legit. That team is more complete than the Chiefs. I don't care what you say. That team is more complete than the Chiefs.
I can't sign off on that, OG. I refuse to sign off on that. Because I think they're more, you got to check this out. There are holes in the defense in Denver.
Where though?
Mainly
linebacker, and it's interior
front too.
It's
which they can address that in the draft or in free agency.
And didn't they trade? They traded for the kid at the end of the year. They even addressed that. They traded for the linebacker for the Rams that was starting. And he went out and got hurt because the Rams had an excess of inside linebackers. I can't remember which one it was, but they traded for the starter from the Rams at the beginning of the year. A young kid is only in his second year. Mm-hmm. And they also had some injuries up front and in the linebacking core. So that's not saying next year when they get healthy or what they may do in free agent to tie up some of that stuff, because they weren't that bad. At the beginning of the year, they were better than the end of the year. And that was a lot because of injuries.
Look, I'll say this. and this is, I ain't trying to sound like a hater, OG,
but you do.
I mean, I may, but I'm gonna come with logic and facts though too. Aaron Rodgers had the Packers choking now. With better competition, I think he needs, if he has a chance of winning another Super Bowl, he needs to stay in the NFC. If I'm the Seattle Seahawks, if you know Russell Wilson wants to leave, I just trade Russell Wilson to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. That way both teams win.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that if I'm Aaron Rodgers, because you come into the same type of thing that you did with the Packers. Like, I think that right now you're discounting what Aaron Rodgers is doing with the lack of talent. So yes, he's playing against some bums, but he also has a lot of bums on his team. I remember when we talked about the team at the beginning of the year, we didn't think that they would go that far.
Green Bay? Yes. They go that far every year. Every single year.
I mean, true, but look what they're working with. They didn't even have Tanyan. They didn't even have like a second receiver for most of the year. They only have Devontae Adams. So you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Jones is 95% of that offense. So you're telling me if you put him in a Denver system that is full of weapons and he doesn't have to carry the workload that he's been carrying, like that's the same thing if you say you take Tom Brady, what he's been doing all his career, and you put him with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. It's just gonna look unfair, and you give him a defense. That's the same thing we're talking about here.
I just think the AFC is too stacked. I think you can give them all the weapons in the world. At the end of the day, I just can't see him handling the Chiefs like that twice a year. It'll be an offensive shootout in all the games he plays, but I really think that defense is going to haunt the Denver Broncos. I really do. And then the thing
you got more faith in. You can't tell me you got more faith in Josh Allen than you do Aaron Rodgers.
No, I ain't talking about Josh Allen. I got more faith in Patrick Mahomes than I do Aaron Rodgers.
But I'm saying you saw what Josh Allen just did with Gabriel Davis and a defense. So you can't tell me that you put Aaron Rodgers on the other side of that with Courtland Sutton, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Noah Fant, that he's just going to be out here getting smoked by the Chiefs. And the Chiefs don't play defense.
But who is the common denominator and all that? Patrick Mahomes, even though I hate his brother, I don't even know his brother. That makes no sense. Let me stop fanboying. But Patrick Mahomes, my homeboy, is the common denominator. I don't see Aaron Rodgers getting past.
But can the Chiefs stop that offense that we're talking about in Denver? No. And we've seen the Chiefs struggle this year, especially against good quarterbacks. Like, it's not like that the Chiefs are facing a large number of quality quarterbacks in themselves. Like, Herbert is good, but Herbert is young, and Herbert makes some bad decisions sometimes. You got Derek Carr, but we know what Derek Carr is. You know what I'm saying? You facing Teddy Bridgewater. You know, it's not like that the Chiefs are just going against these dominant offenses. You're adding Aaron Rodgers to that division. That's a whole different level. And that Denver defense is legit. Like, it's gonna be different. You know, that's a different animal, bro.
The Aaron Rodgers will have the greatest regular season stats with that offense and that team, but we all know the playoffs are his kryptonite. You're not going to be playing the Cowboys in the first round no more. You're going to be playing teams like the Chiefs, like the Titans. I'm telling you, I just don't think that you're giving him credit for it.
So let me ask you this. This is where I'm going to end the conversation.
Okay.
When is the last time that Aaron Rodgers had a legit second receiver? And who was it?
Man, I want to say if we're talking second receiver, it has to be either Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb. And that was probably...
You're wrong. You know who it was? Fucking Devontae Adams with Jordy Nelson. That's how far we go.
But see, Devontae Adams the number one receiver, though. You said number two receiving option.
He's the number one now. But he was the number two with Jordy Nelson. That's the last time he's had. That's the last time he had two weapons. It's Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams. That's how far.
And then you got to think of this. And I'm all right. I get you. I got you. But I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna leave it alone as well. You don't know what the Broncos would have to give up if they trade for Aaron Rodgers. So they might not even have Jerry Jeudy or Noah Fant or somebody like that.
But you got to remember that he negotiated that salary. He negotiated that he's out. That's
so he could be a free agent. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they're not gonna have to give up much. My bigger concern is how much would they have to pay him, and if he's willing to take a pay cut, because I don't know what the Denver Broncos salary cap is like, and I don't know now. Would he take a would he take less money to be able to get Devontae Adams there? Because Devontae Adams is coming for the bag. And they already paid Courtland Sutton, and they gave Tim Patrick a contract. Tim Patrick contract is reasonable, but if you're giving him the inside slot receiver $40 million, and you already paid Courtland Sutton, like, can you afford to give Devontae Adams 18 to 20 million? Because I know Devontae's coming for 20 to 25. Because you got Hopkins making like 20, you got Julio, they got that 20, and you got Colston.
Yep.
Colston. And he's definitely got to make more than Cooper. So for Devontae Adams, as dominant as he's been, Devontae got to be looking at 22, 23 million. Can the Denver Broncos do that? If they do, they're probably going to have to get rid of Melvin Gordon, I assume. They already moved Von Miller, but how much cap can they move around to be able to sign Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and how much of a pay cut? That's the difference with me, because I think that they can make it happen, but what would you have to give up to sign, and what is Aaron Rodgers willing or not willing to take?
Yeah, truth be told, man, I think the best spot for him, if they move on from Jimmy G, will be San Francisco.
I mean, that's an excellent spot.
That's a dream spot for him. But anywho, let's talk about these matchups this weekend, because I know we got 10 minutes of the show left. Let's go after our heated debate about Aaron Rodgers and how I have no faith in him whatsoever. I mean,
that's definitely hate.
Look, he one of the greatest quarterbacks of this generation. I will say that.
Well, you can't say that and then.
But I have no confidence in him right now.
He's gonna fail. That's
moving
crazy.
on. I'm right. You wrong. Whatever. We'll see. But so let's go ahead and do the AFC Championship first. All right. We got the upstart, the young and scrappy Cincinnati Bengals going against the. A lot of people say Patrick Mahomes is the new GOAT. He's got to win like 6 more Super Bowls before I give him the title of the coldest to ever do it.
Man, he got a Super Bowl win and a Super Bowl loss. Ain't no way he's even in the conversation.
Exactly. But check this out. So we got the Bengals and the Chiefs. Joe Burrow, second-year player with a presumptive offensive rookie of the year, Jamar Chase, going in the Arrowhead.
Yeah, he's the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah,
he set records of the receiving, the 200-yard game. Yeah. Man, I want to pick the Bengals so bad.
I do too, because my heart wants them to win, but my head says you got to go with the Chiefs.
They ain't gonna do it, bro. I want to do it so bad, but
the Chiefs are only 7-point favorites. That's the crazy part.
I mean, it should be a shootout, but the point is, like, the Bengals could win, but I've seen them throughout this season take way too many chances. You can't play around with the Chiefs, right? You can't be going for it on 4th down. I think they're gonna go out there with that underdog mentality, feeling like they have to be ultra aggressive. And I just don't see them getting it done. Like, the Bills was the matchup. And the fact that the Chiefs got past the Bills last week, I think they're going to make easy work of the Bengals. I hate to say it. I hate to see it because I love this Bengals team. But I can't go against Patrick Mahomes
especially at home.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't pick the Bills, there's no way I could pick the Bengals, man. So, and they struggle with the Raiders. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they struggle with the Titans. It took a turnover, which Westbrook probably is a good defensive play. Westbrook probably should catch that ball or knock it down. You don't have those problems. I got to go with the Chiefs more than 7. Like, I'm definitely will take the spread on this.
I'll take them by 14, honestly. I think they might.
I think it's a 17-point game.
17-point
game.
I'm gonna go with 21, but yeah, I like the Chiefs too. And it's at Arrowhead, but man, if the Cincinnati Bengals become the AFC champions,
yeah, it's crazy.
Man, Joe Burrow might be the coldest junior. I don't know.
Yeah, but we gotta stop.
We giving him too much too soon.
We be crowning motherfuckers just for making it to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Don Brady has been to like 12 Super Bowls. They got a long way to go. I mean, just even appearances.
Man,
his appearances is legendary, bro.
Yo, I gotta say this: if the Cincinnati Bengals pull a 2007 New York Giants,
yeah, that'd be crazy though.
That'd be crazy. That would be crazy. Joe Burrow will own the state of Ohio.
Yeah, Joe Burrow could definitely become the next Eli Manning. I mean, people sleep on what Eli did. You know what I'm saying? But Eli's still legendary in New York, bro.
Yeah, he took down Tom Brady twice, man. That earns you points in my book, and they are hilarious, man. The Manning brothers, you can just tell they just all them just
talk shit all day.
Hilarious. That's all they do. That is all they do. Cooper especially. You know, Cooper, especially if Arch Manning become the coldest Manning of all time. You know, Cooper don't talk cash money shit.
The way they talking. You know what I'm saying? The way they talking, he legit.
Yeah. Hey, we got to talk. You know what? After the Super Bowl, we got to do a recruitment episode. We got to do a Fumblerooski recruitment special, man. This is.
Well, we can actually do that next week. I mean,
Yeah,
next
probably.
week Tuesday signing day, right? Or
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
nobody
Thursday,
watches.
something like that.
Yeah, and nobody watches the Pro Bowl, man. Nobody gives a shit about the Pro Bowl. We don't care about that.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, I'm an OU fan. We've been on this recruiting trail hard, so I'm excited about this signing day. Aaron, we done flipped a couple of dudes.
Yeah. All right. So now we got to talk about the NFC Championship game, which on paper looks a lot closer. The Rams are only 3.5-point favorites, and that's due to the fact that they're at home. So really, they're a 1-point favorite. The 49ers have had a Cinderella season after starting off slow. I think this weekend, third time is not the charm. Well, at least for San Francisco, third time will be the charm for the Los Angeles Rams. I think the clock strikes midnight on Cinderella. I think Jimmy G has an epic collapse, and the Rams do not let up, and they finally get it done and become the second team to play in their home stadium in the Super Bowl. I like the Rams I'll say about 7, not 3.5, about 7. As long as they can stop the run and contain Debo Samuel and Mitchell.
Yeah, I think defense that these teams are on par defensively, but I don't think that the Rams are gonna let Debo just do whatever he wants. Jalen Ramsey's gonna have that assignment. That's gonna mean somebody else is gonna have to step up. Elijah Mitchell's still young. He hadn't really dominated like he did early in the season, but you're playing better defenses. You're playing contenders, so that would be expected. I just don't know where. Like, I don't trust Ayuk. You got George Kittle, but George Kittle is a really good player, but it's more about totality, right? All the different things that he does. He's not always just the dominant receiver on the field. That's a Travis Kelce type player. You know what I mean? Like sometimes he can go quiet, and even when he does, he's more of a chain mover than a dynamic tight end that's going to just kill a team. He has before, but I just don't see that happening this game. So I like the Rams, man. I like everything about the Rams. I mean, the Rams have to win, honestly. I mean, they've given up so much to not get one Super Bowl. We got to understand that the Rams at some point are going to be in cap hell. They given all their picks from like the next 5 years. Like, they paid for the Super Bowl. Don't get it twisted. They paid for the Super Bowl. They mortgaged their whole future. If they don't get 1 or 2 titles out of this, it's going to be an epic failure for the organization. They were
supposed to get a title way back when they played the Patriots. I think they set that up. They bought that one too.
Yeah, but this one is crazy. Like, if you start looking at the assets that they've given, the picks that they've given, the money that they've invested, it just hadn't caught up with them. It's going to be like the Ravens. Like, when it finally caught up with the Ravens, they just had to blow it all up. You know what I mean? And that's what this Rams team is going to be. They have to get a title, or at least 2. I mean, they have to get 1, at least 1. But they need to get 2 in this like 3 to 4 year window, because what they sacrificed, you can't just really even come away with 1, but you got to at least have 1.
Yeah, over the next 4 weeks, they need to become the greatest show on turf, Rams. That's what they really need to do. I mean, they got to win now.
A back-to-back title would make sense, and that's like, okay, at least we did that, and then when we have to rebuild this team for the next 4 years, because it's coming. It's coming. Like,
and then McVay's going to take a studio analyst job.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably sit out and then come back again, but they're going to be a lot like the Saints. Like, the Saints went all in too. That's why they're $74 million over the cap. They went all in to try to win, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? And what happens? The coach looks at this landscape and be like, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm going to do TV. Y'all ain't firing me in 2 years for this.
All these losses ain't going to be on my legacy.
Yeah, so before we go, we got to talk about the USFL, man. A coaching hire has been made for the Orlando Apollo's Jeff Fisher while we're talking about Rams head coaches.
Bro, Jeff Fisher has more lives than shit. I don't even want to say a cat. This motherfucker's like a vampire. He never dies. You know, man? This motherfucker's Michael Myers, man. You think he's dead, and boom, he comes back. Halloween 27.
Hey, one thing is guaranteed: the Orlando Apollo's going 500. Man, they're going 8-8 for sure. I don't know how many games they play, but I am happy about spring football, man. You know, the USFL coming back, the XFL will be coming back next year. I think it's real, and we've talked about it before, where it's really good for guys who don't get picked up in the draft to really have a league of development. And I honestly hope that we have some type of championship scenario between the USFL and the XFL, where it's like, you know, for the spring trophy. And then also, it helps with the football hangover. I thought that the XFL on the second run of it was really good, very dynamic. You had a lot of high scoring games. And so, I hope
the gambling aspect of it, I love the in-game apps, the gambling in-game and all that shit. I thought that shit was revolutionary. I thought the XFL had a good chance of lasting a long time. They just had super bad timing. They planned it out perfectly. Yeah. They planned that shit out perfectly to come in and do what they did. They had a good setup. It was exciting football, and fucking COVID hit, and it was like, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting. I think The Rock, him being a former football player, and he having a mind.
That motherfucker though.
Who, The Rock? Dwayne Johnson? Yeah. How you tired of The Rock? You ain't smelling what he cooking?
Nah, man. I think he's like, I was kind of over wrestling by the time The Rock came in and John Cena, but if we're looking at Rock and John Cena, I like John Cena way more than I like The Rock.
Get the fuck out of here. You just took a shit on
You don't like John Cena?
I like John Cena, but not as much as The Rock.
Man, I like The Rock better. I like The Rock better wrestling, and when he came out early. This new Rock, I don't like this motherfucker. I like John Cena, man. I don't like Rock.
We can't see John Cena, but John Cena, hey, that we gotta talk about that on SSD. That Peacemaker John Cena is hilarious.
Man, John Cena is killing it, man. And how he even talked about how he got the You See Me. He got it from
Tony Yayo.
Tony Yayo,
yeah, the whole
that's just, I love John Cena, man. John Cena killing The Rock, man. And he's willing to play more diverse roles. He ain't stuck into this. Like, I hate when people turn like Kevin Hart. I used to fuck with Kevin Hart. Now he turned into this children-friendly, all motivation. I think those are clones, man. Those aren't real people.
The
Rock.
The Rock just plays himself in every movie. But come on, man. I can't hate on Dwayne Johnson. He used to wrestle in my hometown back in the day when he first starting out. I can't hate on Dwayne Johnson. He was nice to me when I was a kid.
Yeah, The Rock is too arrogant. Like, The Rock actually thinks he's the character from Ballers that he grew into. Like, he thinks he's dude. Yeah, he thinks he's Spencer Strasmore. That's who he thinks he is right now, bro. Tell me he doesn't.
He doesn't think he's Spencer. I would not let one Big Facts, the OG Big Facts, slander Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. I can't stand for that. I refuse.
So Bond XFL in the Strasmore move?
Man,
I'm waiting.
Well, hell, it was either that or Vince McMahon owning it. Come on now. All right,
you see it, bro. You see it.
All right, so this isn't a wrestling podcast, but I gotta ask you before we get out of here: Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock?
Yeah, you know my answer. Stone Cold.
Okay,
I
agree with you.
My top three. Stone Cold's not my number one though. I'll give you my top.
Not my number one either. I'll give you my top five too.
So my top five is Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yep, facts. Okay.
Shawn Michaels.
Big facts. I'm with you.
Shawn Michaels. Then I'll go Undertaker.
Okay.
And then I'll go Steve Austin.
Okay.
And then my number five, I didn't watch a lot of them, but I gotta go show respect. I want to go Diamond Dallas Page, but I ain't gonna do it.
We Lou Uncle.
I'm gonna go with Sting, man.
All right.
I gotta give him respect. I didn't really.
He still wrestles.
Yeah. I didn't even really watch a lot of Sting, but just the respect factor of him holding it down for so long and him being the face of all these other leagues outside of the WWF/WWE. I gotta give him his respect.
Okay, I'm gonna go with my top five because I've been watching wrestling like damn near 40 years. So
and hold on, before you go, I took out the classics. So I went modern. So I didn't give any of the classic Macho Man, Andre the Giant. I went more modern.
Okay, I got a mixture. So I'm with you on Shawn Michaels. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. With you on, I appreciate Bret Hart more as I get older. So Bret, I gotta go with the homie Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ravishing Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect with the honorable mention to Owen Hart.
Mr. Perfect.
I always like Owen Hart more than Bret.
Hey, I respect Mr. Perfect a lot more. Now, I didn't do my all-time just because I wanted to do my favorites of my generation, of which I grew up watching. Like, when I came in, I was on the tail end of, Hulkamania, Ric Flair, Macho Man, all those guys, Mr. Perfect. Like, I was on the tail end of that. But I wanted to go with what I watched and who were my fan favorites of watching, you know what I mean? But you got to give respect to Andre the Giant, Hulk, Ric Flair, Macho Man. Like, Macho Man Randy Savage is like one of my favorites. Ooh, yeah. Like, I love that shit.
Boy, little kid eating Slim Jims like crazy. Them greasy ass sticks.
Shit, I still eat them motherfuckers. I love that shit. I will say this though. I miss the time of wrestling where you always had like the manager with him. Like I love that. The pallbearer, Macho Man's wife. I love Mr. Perfect. I loved all that in the wrestling. I love the theatrics of that.
Plus, you from Oklahoma, man, so you got to shout out Jim Ross.
Jim Ross. I don't like Jim Ross though.
You don't like Jim Ross? All right, we got to end the show, man.
I don't like Jim,
too
man.
far for the
He's a big OU fan. He's a big OU fan too. I don't like him. I used to like the King. I used to like the King, bro.
Hey, for the homie Big Facts, this is Big KP. The views of one Big Facts read are not reflective of Fumblerooski, a football podcast. Nah, just kidding, man. All right, but hey, it's about our time, man. Have an excellent weekend watching. Hopefully we get as good of games this week as we did last week. But man, we got to get out of here. The Zoom video gonna cut off anytime. For the homie Big Facts, this is KP, man. This is Fumblerooski Football Podcast. We out.
Peace.